Aware and beware. Welcome, welcome. I wanted to go and get some more messages, general messages, collective messages from Spirit. Thought, let me go and see now. And it is such a pretty day. What kind of messages for right now? If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the channel. If you are a supporter of the channel, thank you for your contributions. Mystic Moons isn't monetized and is dependent upon your support. Plus, we do a lot of readings here on current events as well as collective readings, readings that benefit more than one group of people. We believe in that community spirit, and that helps keep, well, your contributions helps us to go and keep on sharing the messages that we're given. It's a pretty quiet day where I am. It's been raining since the evening. And the rain is going down to, well, no longer the little torrential rainstorm it was. Now it's just a light, even drizzle. You can hear the sound of the street with a big whoosh of the tires as it cuts through the puddles that you can hear, which actually is a little scary to me, because that means when I go out there, there's going to be a high chance that I have to go and watch those drivers and make sure I don't get sprayed with the water. Hello, AC Sports. How are you? Good morning. Well, it's morning where I am. How are you? Happy Saturday. The place where I lived last year, the tourist town, and people specifically loved on the rainy days to go and splash people, drive really fast, and there was no gutter. So they would love to go and try and splash the people walking on the sidewalks with these huge things of gray water. I don't know why they got the biggest thrill out of it, but they did. You wanted to get in a foul mood? Try walking about 3 blocks in a tourist town somewhere in New York. Ah, is it raining where you are, AC Sports? What is the weather like where you are? Where I am, it's chilly, but not uncomfortably so. Rainy, but everything is all green and vibrant, green and shiny. It's pretty. Even the earth isn't necessarily brown, but it's like a reddish brown. And although the sky is gray, the sky is like a 20% gray. The sky is almost the color of the stone, this part of the stone. It's a gray and green world outside. Very pretty. And the crickets are chirping. I've been really getting into this cricket chirp. the past couple days, the past 2 weeks. Hello, Adrian. Or Adrian, how would you say your name? Am I saying it correctly? Adrian. Is it Adrian? Adriana? No, not Adriana. Adrian. You know, sometimes you are so used to hearing people's names, and then sometimes you see it and you're there, oh, how do I pronounce that? Even though it's a name that you know you said before. But anyway, hello. Your name is spelled very, very pretty. All right. We're here to do messages from Spirit, though. These are collective messages. I don't know what the theme is that I'll be pulling on. Whatever comes out, comes out. The whole reading may apply. Parts of the reading may apply. When you do collective readings, that's basically how it turns out. I also do invite you, if you feel called to, you can check out the other readings that are done in this installment. Just choose a video if you feel called to. Click somewhere in the timeline and listen for a little bit. I wonder if there's one more thing I want to say about this, but I don't think so. I think we'll just hop right into it. Oh, of course, if anyone has any questions that you'd like me to pull on personally, I am available. Otherwise, I invite you to enjoy the collective readings and the energies that are up. Oh, yes, I was going to say, if the readings that I get keep on having the same theme or the same message, then that's when I'll end it. We don't need repeated messages. And sometimes when we do collective readings like this, the messages repeat. So let's see what we have here. What's in the energy for the day right before June? Very exciting. Hitting the halfway point of the year. Where I am in the north, the time when everything is growing, sprouting, expanding. Hello, Sun Sis. Nice to see you again. Also, too, you know, this is right before the time period where I am, right before the heat starts in earnest. So for our first message, oops, a card fell out. 2 cards fell out. Decisions. Overwhelming decisions. Overwhelming decisions. Oh, no, reversed. Well, actually, the whole deck is there. Some critical decisions are coming up on your plate. Perhaps things that you've been pushed aside or haven't been able to address and properly close out. Well, those things are now coming on your plate. The phases that you're meant to go and end, and the new areas, people, ideas that you're meant to now work on and focus on. A spring cleaning is happening in the energy. And perhaps in this energy, 7 of Cups, 9 of Swords, one could be thinking, well, how to go and close things out properly. What's the best way to move about things? And first of all, let me go and say, did I already fold those cards back? I did. First of all, let me go and say with that 10 of Swords and 10 of Wands, when endings arrive, thank you, Sun Sis. Lovely to see you too. When endings arrive, when endings are ready to be put to rest, are ready to be addressed and buried, left behind you, there is no right way of doing it. There is no easy way of doing it. The main thing is to put it to rest, have it, understand that it has to go and play itself out, whether it plays itself out in weeks or it plays itself out in hours or in minutes. You know, the endings are still not necessarily smooth, not necessarily easy. So there is no right way of closing out situations that are unpleasant. Try and close them out as quickly as possible and move on. I have tiger. So someone could be in the year of the tiger. Someone could know someone in the year of the tiger. I don't know when the last year of the tiger was. You can check that out. Perhaps this could be relevant to something that started or something that ended when the last year of the tiger was around. Those three possibilities, this is a marker. If it's a person too, we can think about someone who is very independent, but yet when they're involved or they get involved with a group of people or another person, they're there in a leadership or an eye-catching role. People gravitate towards them. However, their interaction with people are not consistent. They may be very sociable and very gregarious and seem like they work very cohesively with a person or a group of people at one period, but then these people too in tiger energy, they need to withdraw. Whether they withdraw for their own energy to replenish it, or whether they withdraw because the gregarious social face they've been wearing is too much of a mask and too draining for them to maintain. You know, that comes down to the Pacific person. But with also tiger energy, Taurus, with tiger energy, tiger energy is someone who works, who can lead and be authoritative in a group of people, but also too, they need their quiet time. They retreat. Last tiger year. Thank you, Sun Sis. So 2022 is not that far away. People should be thinking about with 2022, has anything notable, did anything notable end for you? Did anything notable start for you? Of course, let me go and say 2022, a notable thing perhaps for all of us was COVID, right? COVID was quite an interesting experience on the global scale, right? On the national scale, on your city scale, on your personal scale, on your professional scale, etc., right? So perhaps too, we're finally being able with Tiger to go and address, or if it's a Tiger year, address what kind of sardines were opened in 2022 that you still feel the effects of today, you're still dealing with today. Somehow even too, knowing that it was the year of the tiger with 2022. Well, too many things, right? Too many things were happening. Oh, you left a job. Very funny, census, because in 2022, that was also a year that I left a job as well. That was the last time I worked corporate in 2022. So it's the same here with me. I expected the end was coming. I saw the handwriting, but I went through something very similar with that as well. But 2022 was a very volatile, energetic year. All right, so let's go and find out more now that we already have our energy and the fact that we have tiger energy. Something's finally coming to a close as that started, that's relevant to 2022 and or someone in tiger energy. Oh, Sun says same exact thing. I mean, I had a job, as I said, that I left in that year, and that was a job with a well-known company. All of my previous work history that I had worked up to that point was basically like that. That job was like showing the progress of what I made to get that position. And when I left that, I also couldn't go and find another one that paid as well and also had, well, just simply paid as well and was in my field. And also, too, I mean, since then I've been working consultant, I've been working freelance and contract. Those three type of avenues. Oh, well, same here. Sun says thank you. But we see that the tide is shifting. The end is coming. It is. And, it's funny that you said that you had a leadership position, because I also, with that position that I had, I also was, that was my first time that I was in the highest level that I ever worked in. And it's funny too, because in that position, I was told by my coworkers, my peers at the same level, they were telling me to be quiet. They were like, I saw things that I didn't agree with ethically. And I went and I told the CEO, I told him on a private call, I told him everything that I didn't agree with. And I knew that wasn't good, but people were telling me, the job market's horrible. You should just keep quiet. When heads roll, it's never going to be us. It's always going to be the people underneath of us. And it's funny because I keep on thinking now, would I do the same? Would I act the same? Now with those 2 years that happened. Yes. Well, I mean, if you're in a position of leadership, and if you can make something better, why not try to make it better? Or at the very least, I mean, if you are quiet and if you accept it, then the toxicity just continues. It continues without check because everyone thinks they can be bought off. Yes, nobody else spoke up except me. And what I was told privately by the other people who were also in management positions was, again, our heads would never roll, but the people under us would roll. So we have perfect job security. And also, too, in the role that I was in the department that I was in, we never had to go and produce any concrete results, because everything we were doing was experimental. So that was another reason why they were there saying, where else would you get a job where you don't even have to produce? And my whole thing is, well, I like producing. Obviously, I have like almost 4,000 videos in a span of a little over a year on this channel, for instance, right? I like producing. But yeah, I keep on wondering now if I would be still outspoken or similarly outspoken if I came across that position. And I have to say, I think I would, even knowing everything that happened, because I don't know, something about the dynamic of those people that I was working with, even though my paycheck, again, I've never earned anything as good as I did in 2022. That was the last time I earned a really good paycheck. Like now I get a fraction of it. And I also work with some bumbleheads. Hopefully no bumbleheads are watching this. Yeah. But now I think too, knowing that if I was in a similar position and if I saw similar things, I do wonder how I would handle it. I do wonder how I would handle it. And I do think I would be a little bit more Machiavellian now than I was then. But I'm still not sure where the line is, personally, especially after all this time of scrambling. Yes, I mean, I know I would have behaved the same way then as I did now because of the group of people I was with. But I do think going forward, if I was in a similar position, I do think, and a similar type of things that I noticed, I do think I would handle things much differently. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely be strategic. I mean, it's funny too, the position that I was in. I think I checked, I don't really follow up on people, but out of curiosity, I think I checked up last year and I saw that one guy was still at that same company and in that same position. And that was someone who, it was his first time being in, he was VP of marketing. And he came from a sales position, a sales background. And that was the first time that he was doing marketing. It was always his dream to do marketing. And in his position, certain things that he was doing was wrong. So I went and I told him like what he was doing wrong, how it should be done, what resources to look at, and things of that nature, which is how I found out some of the questionable things of why they were just doing certain things. But I see that he's still in that position. And the funny thing about him was that I thought was really odd was he always had a tendency to be antagonistic. And one of the things, and it was he had things that he was jealous about with everyone. And then on one project that we were on, we were talking about resorts. It was some resort project. And then he started complaining that he never got to go to summer camp. I know, he was complaining that he never got to go to summer camp. And he actually was, and he's this 40, 50-year-old man, and he has kids himself. Like kids that should have been, if they were into going to summer camp, he should have been sending his kids to summer camp for the past 5 or so years. And he was actually jealous of parents who sent their kids when he couldn't go to summer camp. And then I asked him, did he send his kids to summer camp? And he was like, no. Little, as I said, that's what I mean. The team that I was with, I think they inspire me to do the same things because they had little quirks like that. Yeah, I couldn't do that either. And then on top of that, I found out that the reason why he was so agreeable was someone else told me that he was always stoned. He said like right before he'd start his day, he would go and do some drugs and then do some drugs around the 15-minute break, do some drugs at lunch, do some drugs in the afternoon break, and then do drugs before he went home. So in other words, the guy was always maybe either 30% present or 30% gone. Yeah, it was like and this is a name brand company in a department that was like an internal agency for the corporation. But there were just certain trends like that I thought, even again, if I could do the same person, he was just like the ultimate kiss up. And then there was another person who was recently hired to a middle management role, but there was a possibility of him going up to executive. And he was always flattering the CEO so much. Flatter, 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 flatter. I could not flatter like that. Yeah, he endured it being absolutely stoned out of his mind. But it just got me the fact that he was just petty even to be there as an adult man, still about summer camp. And then he has kids on top of that, and he couldn't even give his kids the same sort of experiences that he, even now as an adult, wishes for. I thought that was very, very disturbing. So it was things like that I feel like even if I was in that same, if I had the time to go back and know what I know now and know how things turned out, I think I still couldn't help but act the same way. Because they all had quirks like that. Yes. It's like they weren't trying to be better. I think that was also what bothered me. They weren't trying to be better in their careers. They weren't trying to be better as people. They weren't trying to be better as professionals. Well, he did have like some, I'm in the New York area. And this particular guy, I know that he had several Airbnbs that he bought around Maine and some other areas. He bought like places and he fixed them up. So he got extra income from that. His wife also worked. His wife worked for either Verizon or Optimum. And she was also middle management. So she brought in, a decent paycheck. And he was, previous to working here, he worked in sales for either Kodak or Polaroid or I don't know, some Epson, some either printing or camera company. And I guess my point is, with the multiple properties that he owned and the fact that both him and his wife were working, they could go and afford, like for instance, they could go and not buy that fourth Airbnb property and go and send their kids off on summer camp. If he's there like the way that he's belly aching about summer camp. And not even summer camp as an adult, he's talking about summer camp as a kid. The same age as his kids. So, I can see like if you can't afford it, but in his case, he could afford it. He could make the sacrifice of taking away, whether it's $5,000, whether it's $15,000, what have you, for that. Just like it felt very, very, very greedy too. But he could definitely afford it. And especially again for all the angst that it cost him. I'm sure he could go and find some local camping for like $1,000 or whatever. go and stick his kids in a local summer camp or a baseball camp or so forth, right? There's so many summer programs that are out there. And then especially for his price point that he was at and his wife was at, for all that complaints, he should have just dumped his kid in something and let go of all that. I never had. But every single thing of somebody who he perceived to be doing well in some aspect, he had a I never had type of mentality. And everybody kind of had that to some extent. Maybe out of 10 or so executives, maybe only 3 of them didn't have that. Yeah. So I just think like with that Pacific group that I was in, they would have inspired that in me anyway to continue acting the same way. Just because it was pathetic. I thought it was pathetic, and they were just griping about things that if it was really important to them, they could go and put action behind it and solve it. But yes, 2023 or 2022 was also a year. The last year I earned a good paycheck. Dear sob. But we'll see how things go. The economy is a scary thing. The way things are moving is also quite odd. But I can also say that as we are shifted out of our daily routine, our regular routines, we start to pay attention to things, different things that we would have never considered before. And also, too, we start to go and see or think about different ways of behaving or moving. I think so. I mean, even this past year so far, I've seen so many off the wall things that I would have never have seen otherwise if I was, well, definitely if I was working in that same job. But even if I was working a job consistently in the office. Because as I said, right now, I've been working kind of remote, hybrid, freelance contract consultant. Doing a bunch of things. And because of that, I've been seeing people entirely different than how I saw them before with my job that took maybe 50 hours a week. I always worked overtime in my jobs. Didn't get paid overtime, but I always worked more than 40 hours a week. And I was always with a Pacific group of people. Very Pacific group of people, very Pacific industry. Maybe the only variation that I had in the types of people that I was dealing with were just the types of money people and clients and potential investors that came in. Those were the fruits. And now I got tons of fruits right in front of me. I see a lot more than I saw before. There must be a reason for it. For instance, a couple months ago, I was taking the bus and some girl had her water break on the bus. And I found out some things about what happens when someone gives birth on public transportation. It was like, do I need that? I don't know. But now I certainly know it. Now that scene is definitely etched in my head like crazy. Going, wow. Okay. Anyway, we'll continue. But yeah, I've seen like all similar off the wall things. Not aliens, but I've seen similar off the wall things person to person that I would have never seen before. So anyway, we have respect mentally unstable sheep. So this could be the year of the sheep or someone born in the year of the sheep. And red flag. I'm going to pull 4 more cards. And yes, let's definitely hope for the best. I will call to that. Personally, you know, Jupiter is entering Cancer, so wealth and prosperity is coming to your home with that transit. Luck, fortune, and with your home obviously is the people that are a part of it, as well as your the actual accommodations for the next 12 months. I agree that I do think aliens are, I agree with that. More normal, more regular, perhaps more grounded. I think so. So we'll go and get some more cards. Oh, of course, I have to say something that made me very, very happy and I feel like is a wonderful sign. I saw 4 baby groundhogs. I have 4 baby groundhogs outside my window. I never in my whole life saw baby groundhogs. So I'm pretty thrilled about that. And I've been groundhog watching for a while. I've spent a lot of my time working remote way before COVID made things remote. So I've been watching groundhogs for a long, long time. I never saw a baby groundhog, let alone 4 baby groundhogs. So right then and there, it's a good sign. All right. I have sincere, story, action, and toxic. Let's see what I have here. I wonder about this sheep in action. Because sheep also implies getting along with the herd, working the group of people that you're in, working the environment that you're in, not going outside of your boundaries. But then we have action. I know, aren't groundhogs so cute? Oh, I'm in love with groundhogs. I mean, they are I don't know if they're my spirit animal, but I absolutely 100%, 1,000% love groundhogs. And then the groundhogs that are around here, they're the size of soda cans. They're like maybe, like this is cards, right? Maybe the groundhogs are like that big. When they first came out, they were literally the size of soda cans. They could fit in your hand. And now maybe they're just like a little bigger like that. That's my hand. Well, maybe they're palm size. I don't know. They're so cute. And then they are doing all these adult groundhog type things. Like they're little baby groundhogs, but they are on their little hind legs looking around like adult groundhogs. They're there chewing like adult groundhogs. It's just the cutest thing. Yes, they're little babies, and there's four, and two of them have little black tails, and one of them is particularly tiny. And they all are. It's funny too. They all are exploring the area, going further around their little burrow. I've been putting little snacks out like carrot sticks and apple skins. I put out some raisins. I put out some Cheerios. I know they have no idea what it is. The carrot sticks are still out there. But yes, they're little babies. They are the sweetest, sweetest thing. I swear they're so cute. I haven't seen the mommy groundhog, so she must be, I guess, incognito. I saw her maybe 2 weeks ago. But very, very sweet. So what I'm starting to go and get as well is that there's a little bit of work yet to be done, to be closed out into. It's a little bit like walking in the dark. There's a trek that you have to continue, that you have to finish out. You need to be sharp, but you still need to go through the end motions as something is ending. Oh, you have hedgehogs. Oh, you have hedgehogs. That's so adorable. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, I don't know what it is with these little rodents. The groundhogs, the hedgehogs, the mice. I mean, all of them. They're just something about them are just so cute. Really, really cute. I've seen some of those videos on YouTube where they have the pet hedgehogs and they zoom in close on their little faces and their little expressions. Yes. You know, it's funny when you think about all the people that don't bother to go and notice the beauty that's around them, no matter where you are, too. There's even the beauty of the sky, right? The beauty of the weather, the beauty, so many different ways of seeing and giving thanks to that beauty. The true feast that we typically glaze over but don't really examine with our eyes. Yes, they do feed our soul. It's also, you know, a way of establishing how present we are. I mean, we have all the many things that we have to do, but we can't allow the pace of life to distract us from the touch points that connect us to our environment, the touch points that make us human, the touch points that make us alive. Oh, it can be. It really can be. And that's probably the gift of what we have, the biggest gift that we have from the animals outside and from the plants outside. Getting back down to the basics of life. And then also, too, if you can, be gentle and be kind. Everybody just wants to live and be comfortable, be safe. Everybody wants to eat with that full belly. Very, 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 very sweet. So what I have here, essentially in the message that I have, I see a little bit of the energy like walking around in the dark. It's necessary to go and walk around without seeing an endpoint. The endpoint is there, but it may not be there with a pinpoint and a marker for you. And so you'll have to go through the motions of whatever situations to go and keep your situation afloat. You'll have to navigate and also be very prepared. Understand that too, that whatever you're doing, whatever you get involved in, not to go and give it more depth, more weight than necessary, because you know that it's only for a moment and it's only to tide you over until what you don't, something better comes along. Essentially what you don't, something better is coming along, other things are coming, and you just have to go and sort of ride those lily pads, hop from lily pad to lily pad, or ride those train cars, train car to train car. Ride it through. Yes. And with magician definitely is a positive sign here. There is something upcoming with partnership of someone who will support you, someone who believes in you, someone who will give you the autonomy and the authority to act in your full presence, your full ability. But with that King of Cups there, King of Cups, Ace of Wands, definitely an opportunity, someone who believes in you, believes in what you can do, will allow you to basically do what you do best. This is not apparent yet, this is coming up. Coming up. And what I have here with 10 of Wands, continue to go and push forward. And it's not too long now. 10 of Wands is an energy that is tiring as anything. But you know, when a 10 of Wands appears, 10 of Wands is the end of a cycle. Now, how long does that cycle take to move aside? It'll take a little bit of time. 10 of Wands isn't fast energy, but no, too, with the 10 of Wands, you've already done a good portion of the, you've already slogged through a good portion of the muck. Just about there. And also, too, when this ends, when that ends, it will be completely over, clean cut end. And right now, yes, it's asking you to still navigate in the dark, and that things will change just as drastically, actually, from what you are experiencing now. Be wandering in the dark, and then you'll have clarity and very clear direction, very clear tangibles to go and build out something better. Whatever it is that you have been holding out for, that you want, that you're not going to settle for anything less than what you deserve. Those opportunities are coming. But you do need to go and right now, for a little bit longer, wander in the dark and wear a mask. And whatever you are involved in, show concern at surface level and understand that whatever it is, it's not going to continue. The longevity isn't there. It's just for right now, and it's just for getting through this time period. We'll pull another message. Let's see, another message. Census, I think I recall you were telling me that you were, was it a Leo? Are you a Leo sun? I remember you told me once but I think that was maybe about 2 months ago or so, 2 or 3 months ago, a Sagittarius. Sagittarius sun. Well, Jupiter moving into Cancer is a very good sign for you as well, particularly Jupiter being ruled with Sagittarius, ruled by Sagittarius. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. A lot of water in your chart. And definitely keep an eye out for the next 12 months, June 9th to next June. Basically, with Jupiter coming to Cancer means that it's super magnified. It is super, Jupiter in Cancer is super magnified. It's exalted. Exalted in Cancer. It's the best place it could possibly be. So all your Jupiter placements and aspects, all of your Cancerian placements, all that's going to get supercharged. But being a Sagittarius with your ruling planet of Jupiter, that will definitely bring stability and luck and fortune to your home. That's the kind of energy the next 12 months affords. Oh, wow, Moon in Cancer, those strong Cancer placements. Very strong Cancer placement. mean, the basic readings that I do, I see your sun and your moon energy, also your rising if you feel it. And then for the love readings, the Venus, but moon in Cancer very strong, and a Sagittarius. Oh, yeah, I have Cancerian placements too. They get emotional. You can't help it, even if you try and ignore it. It's impossible. Oh, I know. I know. I also have my Venus in Cancer too. I wish I had my Venus in an air sign, or actually, I think I wish I had it in an air sign or a fire sign. But no, I had to have it in the water. I know. I know. Ah, so exhausting. So exhausting. As I have intense water. I have intense water. Oh, wells. I have Sagittarius in my 8th house, though. And with Sagittarius being in my 8th house, they say that it's like a passport to the other side. It's like you're not all here in the first place, you're kind of here and also somewhere in the ether. Well, I have an air Mars, but I feel like having a water, particularly in my Venus, just drags me. And my 7th house is in water too. It makes me sappy. Really? You have a Cancer moon in the 8th house? Those are very psychic placements right there, Sun Sis. 8th house, housing things. 8th and 12th house placements, especially when it involves the moon or dreamy aspects. Means you're very sensitive to the veils of this reality, other realities, other things. Very interesting. You know, you should check out too, Sun Sis. If you're interested, you should check out where your asteroids are, like the Circe asteroid. Trying to think of some of the other ones. They just sort of escaped my head. But there are asteroids that are also around Psyche. What else? Other ones are there? There are ones around the 3 fates. Yeah, you can find out on, I think that site, that there's like 2 sites that everyone uses. One is, I think, that Astro Cafe, the pink site. And then there's a site that's white with like navy blue menus. And I think it's called AstroSeek. I think on that one, you can go and create your natal chart, and you can specifically go to the advanced features, and you can go and dig up like specific types of asteroids to go and see where they're placed. And I'm trying to remember what the other asteroids are. You can take a look online and see. But I know one is definitely Circe. One is Psyche. One would be, I think there's also Hecate. You can see how your Hecate is aspected. Yeah, and see where they are. Yeah, go and check. Also, I think even if you do a search online, they're not readily, like, I haven't seen any articles that say, oh, check these for your psychic placements or abilities, and they don't really have articles out for there. But if you dig around, you can find the names of what asteroids you should be looking for and see where they're placed, especially with a moon in the 8th house. That's a very significant placement. I have my moon in the 12th house. So, similar energy. You're welcome. I definitely think that with having the change in what your regular routine was and well-paying job, etc., but being shifted out of that, we've been shifted specifically to go and be exposed to different ways of thinking that we would have not had the chance to explore if we didn't have that change in our routine. Yes, it's funny because so many of the articles that are out there about the 12th house all say such negative things about the 12th house. And then especially whenever you have a moon in either the 8th house or the 12th house. But I actually feel I've always felt very comfortable with my moon energy. I've always felt very comfortable with the 12th house energy. I don't know if other people meet me and they're all not as comfortable, but I certainly am. I'm like, what, I don't mind ambiguity. And I'm very comfortable with it. But just saying that as well as someone who has a cardinal moon sign and placement in 12th house, 8th house are very similar. Yeah, they're considered dark, but I don't feel them as dark. And I think that's maybe something that the people who are writing these articles or the people who are the typical astrologers, I think they need to go and sort of step away from that. Like, what exactly makes it dark? I don't really feel any darkness with my moon being in the 12th house. I feel like an inner light. I feel clarity that goes beyond light and shadow. And I feel lots of range. Lots of range. Yeah, nobody has really gone into it that has either those placements or have given those placements credence. I personally am a lot more terrified of my 5th house. Like, whoa, 5th house energy. But not at all the 12th or the 8th houses. Right, but I think that some people, not everything is straightforward, and not everything has to be straightforward. You don't have to move in a straight line to accomplish things. You don't have to move in a straight line to be in things. You also don't have to think in a linear way to work a situation or understand a situation or to grow. I think they're very powerful placements to go and have. It also allows you not to be bound and encourages you not to be bound by what other people would put on you or society would put you on or things of that nature. It's like you're outside the boundaries, the um, the expectations of popular culture. Because if society had a whole bunch of independent thinkers, where would society be? If society had a whole bunch of independent thinkers and if they valued true innovation, where would be the true litmus for success? Right now, we've just gotten to a point where someone has money or they don't have money, and then either you celebrate them or you don't celebrate them. I mean, some people we call bums, and rightfully so. They may deserve to be called bums. But then look at people like Elon Musk, for instance. Man has like how many babies, mommies? Goes around breeding children, goes around saying whatever comes into his head with no sense of public decorum. You mean Walden with Henry David Thoreau? I think there actually is Walden here in New York, where he had the cabin. I haven't gone there. I think you may need a car to get there. Yes, I did read that book a while ago, though. And someone recently told me that the cabin he stayed at, Henry David Thoreau, was somewhere around here. And what I heard was as well, when Henry David Thoreau stayed in this cabin somewhere here around New York, it was rent free and it was on his friend's palatial estate. You know, I had plans to get a car when I was working that last job in 2023 or 22. And 2023, I was doing something entirely different. In 2023, I decided, since the corporate thing didn't work out for me, I decided to go and apply for a year in residence at an ashram, which is a whole other story. I thought, oh, I would never do that before, so let me do that. But with that, I was planning on getting a car, and then I thought, well, let me not get a car, because at that point I was in the city. I was around New York City, and everybody's carburetor was getting stolen and things like that. And I thought, well, I could always go and buy a car at any point. Like, it's not necessary for me to get it as long as I have the money. Isn't it? But where I am right now, I'm further up. I would like to get a car, and I was actually starting to go and barter, put out like things for bartering for a car, but then I got caught up. That's kind of what I think I'm going to have to do, is find somebody with an extra car and barter some of my services for their vehicle. But yes, that's what he was doing. He was living off his friend's wealthy palatial estate. Must have been glorious. So, you know, too, that probably if he wanted food, all he had to do was just go and walk a little bit over to the main house, go off to the kitchen and go and get all the food he needed. Yeah, that's the same reason. There's no point in I got in a car, because I don't know what would have happened I mean, very easily the car could have gone. And well, also too, in the area that I was in New York City, the streets got flooded during the rain during the summer season. So sure too, my car would have been, or I would have had to go and worry about flooding and and robbery. But yes, now it's trying to go and figure out how to go and get that vehicle, how to go and get a car. Are you in an urban area, Sunsis? Yeah, I'm in a rural area right now. I was almost going to be in a more urban area, but then some things got switched around last minute and I ended up going to a segue point. Like I'm further downstate, but I'm still not in an urban area. I'm still pretty rural. But I'm close enough that if I needed to commute to New York City daily, if something opens up, so I don't really want to commute daily to New York City, but if something opened up for that, I could. Yeah. Well, a lot of the work that I do, I have like a lot of artwork. Like these are small pieces, but I have large pieces. You can see them on the Instagram for the channel. And I have so many large pieces of artwork. I really need a van, like one of those contractor vans. And of course, those eat up gas like crazy. But I need a contractor van. And that's something that I need for work. Well, not the work that I do right now as consulting, but the work that I've been doing the whole time. Even the fact that I have this many cats, I can't even carry them all comfortably at once. Like I do have these to go bags when I was living in the city, and they were saying during that whole COVID thing, pack your to go bag with Mayor Adams. He was saying that. So I did create these bags that I can put them in and just put them to my back and then run out. But the actual cat carriers and everything like that, and just how heavy they are. Yeah, those conversions that people are doing are pretty interesting. I noticed somebody driving around where I am, and they have a school bus that they painted white, and they completely did like they stripped out the they stripped it out, and they made it into basically a traveling apartment. It is, and they're so heavy. Somebody was mentioning to me, I don't really talk about them in real life because when you have that many, like nobody wants to rent to you. They're like going, oh, we can't have that. So I just say I have one, or I say I have none, even though you can hear them. But I honestly don't know how. Somebody was there saying something like, "Oh, I have a kitten here. Are you interested in a kitten?" I was just there thinking, "No way could I have that many cats. I can't carry that many." Like now, I'm literally thinking about the weight. Like also too, if there was a fire or anything like that. I mean, so I go and I grab everybody, put them in their bags, put them on a backpack because you can carry more in your bag, and then maybe I can go and take a folder of my important papers, and that's about it. I mean, the weight of them, I can't carry that much. Be like there's no clothes, no food, no medication, no nothing. It'll just be like, the live weight. Yeah, I'd like to get a dog. I I came really close last year around October to picking up a German Shepherd puppy. And first, everything went very smoothly with the German Shepherd puppy. The guy was literally 3 blocks from the house that I was in, or he was really close by. It was right around the corner. And then for some reason, there were just all these friction points that started popping up. And I decided, well, I probably isn't the best time for me to get a dog. So yeah, it wasn't the best time. And it's a good thing I didn't go and get that dog yet. You can't quite do that with the kitties. Well, first of all, in the area that I'm in, because it's rural, it doesn't really matter if it was rural or urban. Between the urban areas, people put poison out. They get hit by cars. People also put their dogs on them. They do. And if the cat isn't used to going outside in the area, then it sort of defeats the whole purpose of them knowing it. And also in the urban area, they have raccoons. Raccoons eat cats. They're a natural predator to cats. And then in the mountains, in the rural areas, we have fishers. And fishers are deadly to everything. Like fishers eat porcupines alive. Fishers eat cats. They eat small dogs. Fishers are very, very ferocious, and we have a huge predominance of fisher cats, they're called, in the area. They're a type of weasel. Very, very ferocious weasel. They eat baby birds, and the whole thing is they eat them alive. They start eating you alive. If you hear something screaming at night, it's because of fish, and screaming, 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 screaming until it stops. It's a fisher eating. Oh, it is. And then besides the fact that, you also have the cars here, you also do have people putting out poison for the rodents. We have the foxes. Foxes attack cats. Raccoons attack cats, and they have the 5 fingers as well. The raptors, owls, eagles, etc. Falcons, all those sorts of things, hawks. And they are also natural predators to cats, because the way that they attack is that they come on the back and they start gouging out the eyes and whatnot, and the cat can't defend itself. And then we also have coyotes. Yeah, so I definitely, if I let the cats outside, no way would they come back. I mean, maybe they could, but that's too dangerous. I'd rather get a sore back. And I'd rather be out there with nothing but the shoes on my feet. No, I wouldn't recommend anyone to let your kitties outside like that. You can always pick up food, you can always pick up clothes, but you can't replace a kitty. Well, you just don't let them outside. There are people in the area that I'm in that come up from New York City, and they let their little dogs outside, their little cats outside. And then they get shocked when their cat or dog passes away, maximum 3 years. Or they're there, now we're in the city, we can have a pet. They let their cat outside. It's really the most foolish thing, because the whole thing is, a cat is nothing more than a prey animal. They're like mouse outside. And their lifespan is really drastically cut short. I have harnesses and things like that I take them outside, but guarded on my shoulder. But you definitely don't want to let your cat just go running out. No, it's definitely a blessing to be able to see life outside. One place I'd love to be in, I think, would be in Mexico in the Yucatan jungles. That sounds like a nice place to be in, with all the various animals that are around there. There was a guy that used to have a blog, but he took it down. And he was this Spanish guy who lived in some urban city, and then he chronicled moving back or just moving down to Mexico in the Yucatan jungle. And he about how when he got there, he discovered this almost like black market or a black witch market in which they had all these various birds and monkeys and so forth. And he picked up a jaguar cub. And he spoke about how with that jaguar cub, he maybe you could still go and find it. He could have taken it down, but it was in the Yucatan, and his cat's name was Maya. And he had something around patrolling his property, something like 15 pit bull or 15 big dogs that he said that he had. And of those 15 dogs, some of the dogs got along really well with the cat. Some of the dogs didn't. And he said he had to rehome some of his dogs because they were too aggressive towards the cat, and the cat wouldn't take it. And from what I saw, he basically didn't obviously allow his cat to run around, but all the dogs he allowed to roam around, these big muscular dogs with the big muscular cats. It was funny. And he said, like, of course, the cat was the big boss. And he also said that his whole life had completely changed into the fact that it was all about the cat. And he showed pictures of the garden areas that he was building out with all the native foliage. So beautiful. He had a lake or a pond or something like that on his property in which he was, I guess, cleaning up. And he found out that there was either a crocodile or a caiman, some sort of alligator, but alligators in fresh water. I don't know what it was. It was some sort of munching reptile, long mouth munching reptile. And then he rehomed it, and then, or, dropped it off in the jungle somewhere else. And then another one came and he rehomed that. And then it kind of got to the point where he began thinking that the crocodiles or alligators that were in this pond that he had envisioned to go swimming and canoeing, he was there thinking that he was dropping them off miles and miles away, and then they were just coming back to his pond. He was like, guess I can't swim in my pond anymore. Yes. But it was fun to go and read how he was living literally in the jungle. But then I think he sort of went silent. Maybe people were there saying with him rehoming crocodiles and or dropping crocodiles off, and his jaguar, maybe they were saying unpleasant things. But it was interesting just seeing the photos and the videos of how he was planting things, cleaning things up, the creatures he found. I don't know. I mean, I feel like with mine, I can predict them pretty well. Like I know what sets them off. I know as well that none of them are necessarily, I don't know. I mean, they're very well trained. I'll put it that way. I have one, like my so called best cat, she gets disappointed in me, but I know what makes her disappointed. And when she gets disappointed, she gets grumpy. And my males, I always have to lock one up when I'm talking on here because I know they act out. So I think you could sort of expect and understand their behavior. I mean, they're very engaging. And I think that with my cats, I very much, I know I know what they're doing. Unfortunately, perhaps are they doing things that I would like them not to do? Sometimes. I like the fact that with my cats, for instance, I know that they won't attack birds. You probably do you have cats? With with mine, I could also tell when they are in Pacific moods. Of course, sometimes I don't care what Pacific moods they are. Like I have my girl when I put her in the cubby in the carrier and she knows that she's going out, she gets very, very. One day, perhaps a kitty will come to you. You don't know how they would come to you, too. They could find you on the street. A friend could go and say, oh, I have this. Can you take care of them? Come across a breeder, maybe even, and you pick up a cat. I mean, I really think when you pick up a kitty, it just happens. And then it's your cat. And you can tell quite clearly what they want. I mean, to me, they're very predictable. You know their personalities. Again, what sets them off, what doesn't set them off. Who is naturally in an alpha position, who doesn't care about that, who's food motivated, who's love orientated, who's play orientated, all those things. The one thing I could say that you probably can't control with cats is how they are. They're aggravated at you, they will, or if they want you to interact, you can't shut them up. As you could probably tell from the readings that I have. Meow, 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 meow. Yes, they definitely choose us. When I got my male Siamese, I could tell that that he was so full of curiosity, lots of curiosity. And I could tell that he was probably there, like, with you, I'll see lots of things. With you, I'll go lots of places. And I've always had my cats on leashes too. And I've always taken my cats with me. So it was like, yes, we're going lots of places and we're going to see lots of things. In 2023, I lived in, as I said, in a New Age center, and they placed me in a shack, a literal shack, that was off the dock of a lake. Very pretty, but it was a shack. It was like maybe 7 feet by 9 feet, 7 feet by 5 feet, something like that. Maybe it was 9 feet by 6 feet. It was very tiny. And on the dock that I had, there was a flock of geese that were nearby. And by the time I left, I had all the geese on my dock every day. Maybe I had like 20 geese. And my cat would just be there enjoying watching all the geese up close and personal. Sometimes he was a little aggressive, like that he could actually take on a goose. But I watched him closely on the leash to make sure that wouldn't happen. Oh, it really is. In fact, I think as well, I posted a picture of him, not with the geese, but him on the dock on my channel in the message part. I think when I was taking a break from going outside for the meditation moments, there's a picture of him and the dock that you can go and see. Well, Senses, I'm going to be back later, but it was really nice talking to you this morning. I hope you have a beautiful day. I'll be on a little later, but I'm going to go off and take care of some things. Same here, Senses. See you next time. Bye-bye.